Today's topic, interacting with today's law enforcement. Waiting for a couple of people to jump in here so we can kick
Yes, indeed.
Kick this off. We got a special guest in here with us tonight.
Yes, sir. Mr. Broderick Williams.
How you doing today,
Yes,
sir?
How y'all feeling?
Doing lovely.
Yeah, we're doing good, my brother.
Quite lovely. Yeah, so we got a great discussion that we're going to jump into tonight. Interacting with today's law enforcement. You know, it's nothing new. It's been going on for forever.
Yes, sir. Quite some time now.
You know, we want to dive into our opinions, our thoughts, the facts that we have, the misconceptions that are out there, and everything in the between. For our followers out there that are jumping in on this topic with us, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to drop them in the chat. Our law enforcement gentlemen will be happy to answer them for you. I will be happy to answer them for you as well from my experience as a security police officer and from military perspective. I was a security police officer at the Department of Energy from 2006 to 2019, and I had almost 30 years of military service between active duty Army National Guard, and Air National Guard. So we have a wealth of experience in the house, and of course, Son Solex has his experiences.
Yep, true civilian. I'm giving you every bit of it.
And of course, we're going to have the call-in number for y'all. We're going to throw that up. We're going to open up the lines sometime during this live stream so that y'all can call in and ask the questions that you need to ask, that you want to ask, you know.
For sure.
Don't be shy. Ask away. So y'all, you ready to jump into it?
Yeah, we can go ahead and get started, man.
Let's jump into it, brother. All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, it's the King and I Life podcast, hosted by myself, Soul Toucher the Poet, and my brother, Son Solex.
Yay.
Follow us on all of or your preferred podcast platform. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And we are going to get into the topic today, interacting with today's law enforcement with our special guest, Broderick Williams. Go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
Yes, sir. I'm Broderick Williams. Started my law enforcement career in 1999 till about 2015. Throughout that time, various positions in law enforcement, from working in a jail, road patrol, criminal interdiction, and various investigation divisions.
All right. We just want to once again thank you for joining us on the King and I Life podcast. I know you're a busy man, but again, we just are humbled to have you here on the show with us to help get this information out here so people will have a better perspective of how to interact with law enforcement.
Thanks for having me.
Before we get to it, we just want to send a quick shit out. I mean, a quick shout out. Sorry.
Freudian slip.
A quick shout out. Sorry. We just want to thank all of our listeners. Again, for some of you who don't know, we are in 8 different countries right now. So again, we're going to shout them out right quick. Of course, the United States, Republic of India, Republic of France, Commonwealth of Australia, Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Russia Federation, Mexico, and Bangladesh. And many others in between there. So
Yeah.
again, we just want to thank you guys for tuning in with us, and we really appreciate it. So just to show you that love, thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
But of course, today we're going to be talking about the interaction with today's law enforcement. The negative interaction with law enforcement are not a new subject of wide debate. With the wide use of cell phones, body cams, and other means of recording these interactions, more light is being brought to what many rightfully define as abuse of power over policing in non-white communities, and the blatant prejudice that have been lurking in many police departments across the country. We will discuss our views on how changing need to be between the police and communities. As a parent, though, what are some key lessons that we can/should teach our children about being confronted by the police?
So who want to jump on that topic first?
I'll go first. I'll say one of the things that I've tried to influence, my younger cousins and my nieces and, younger people that I come in contact with is anytime you're being pulled over by a police officer, just keep in mind to always keep your hands either on the steering wheel or on the dashboard. I also recommend they roll down all their windows, even if they have clear windows. Of course, if you have tint on, to just roll down your windows. Again, just answer any questions that they ask you outright, simple yes or no, things along that line. But again, be direct. Don't offer any more information than what they're asking you for. Again, just keep a calm and cool head in any situation, because again, you just don't know what kind of day that officer has been having. He could have been having a rough day up until this traffic stop with you, or whatever the case may be. So those are my recommendations.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, at the end of the day, whether you like the police or not, regardless of your feelings, you have to understand as a child that they are adults, and you need to talk to them as adults. And the piggyback of what Son Solex was saying, if you have tinted windows, roll your windows down. It makes it easier on everybody involved in a situation, because a lot of people are rolling around with tint beyond legal limits, and that's already a crime. So to make your life easier, just roll down all your windows so that when they walk up on your car, whether they come from the driver's side or the passenger side, they can easily see inside your vehicle, and they're not so much on a heightened alert. So I'll leave it at that. Roger, you got anything else you want to throw into that?
Yeah, I'll just chime in a little bit on what you guys are saying. I actually have the perspective of both views from law enforcement perspective and from a parent of a child. Conversation with my child all the time. Most of the times when law enforcement interact with a civilian, it's because of some kind of violation, and with that, the law enforcement officers are already going to be heightened. They're going to be on alert. So the best thing to do is just try to, follow, the rules. I mean, not the rules, follow the instructions of the officer, just do whatever he asks you. Like your windows down, because that's a very issue with safety. A lot of cops, when they walk up to your car, they don't know if you have someone in the back seat that's going to ambush them or, something like that. So it's very important that you just, follow whatever they ask you to do.
And the thing about it is, like we were talking the other day, is I think it's a real comfort thing. When you're dealing with a person in law enforcement, you want to make sure they feel comfortable, so they don't feel any, animosity before they even talk to you. Like, why is this person acting this certain way, or giving me this type of energy? So again, the more comfortable you can feel or make them feel, as long as you're making yourself feel comfortable. That definitely plays a role. Like I said, you don't want to put yourself in a compromising position or something that's innocent. Like moving too fast. You always want to tell the officer, "Hey, I'm reaching for my wallet," or "I'm going in my dashboard to retrieve my insurance card." Something along those lines. The more verbal you are with them, as far as letting them know what it is exactly that you're doing, that puts you both on the same even playing field there. Everybody knows what's going on. There's no question about what's going on. So it's a comfort thing.
Yeah, another thing, son. So Lex, what people have to realize is from the very beginning, your first interaction with the cop on a traffic stop, you're being investigated. The first thing they may ask you, "Hey, do you know why I pulled you over?" That's an investigation tactic. Where are you headed? Where are you coming from? All of these questions are part of investigation that most people don't realize they're being investigated. So, be careful of your answer. If you don't feel comfortable answering those questions, just give them your license and your insurance. Just tell them you prefer not to answer those questions because it's a form of investigation. And with those answers could lead to more investigation. It could lead to, do you mind if I search your vehicle, that you give from the initial contact.
Right.
And Senso Lex was saying make them feel comfortable. And I know a lot of people, adults, children, or whatever, they might say the hell with their comfort. But at the end of the day, it's not about the hell with their comfort. It's about everybody's comfort, because as we'll further get into the conversation, they have a use of force continuum. And, a lot of people don't know that or don't understand it. So, if you're not making them, if you escalate in the situation, you have to keep in mind that use of force continuum is going up in other levels. But I'll leave that until we get to that part of the conversation. But I agree totally with what you guys were saying, because especially with today's youth, they seem to be a lot more hot-headed than some of us used to be. They seem to have this invincibility about them that more than some of us used to have. So overall, we need to, even though we need to sit our kids down and tell them that, look, the color of your skin matters, but at the end of the day, you're talking to a person in a position of authority. You're also talking to an adult. If you don't feel comfortable talking to that adult, like Mr. Williams was saying, you just say you prefer not to answer those questions. If you have the ability to, hit record on your phone, your voice recorder. If you have the ability to, if you have cameras, dash cams in your car, because they sell them everywhere, you can buy personal dash cams in your car. You can turn that on as well. So just keep those in mind when you're having these conversations with your children. So, so a question that I want to throw out there is the fuck the police, and I have to be blunt about this because we see it all the time. Is the fuck the police attitude a hindrance when it comes to police working in minority communities?
I'll let you take that one, Mr. Broderick.
Yeah, that's the big thing now. And it's an aspect I can see where that attitude comes from. You turn on the news, you see a cop guy out, beating a guy, and it's easy to get the mentality of fuck the police, But you got to remember, all cops are not like that. Some cops go to work to do their job to help people, to civilize, to protect people. So I think it's to be careful when you use that fuck the police, because like I say, not all police are like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I will say that as a young man, having encounters with being pulled over for one reason or another, I think when you're that young, your energy is different. It's kind of like after police every day, all day on site. But I think as you get older, you come to realize that that's definitely not the right attitude to have. I think when you're younger, you're more prone to be in environments, some of us, where, you know, we see people being put in compromising position, you know, for no reason. So that's kind of like where we get it from, because we take on that energy. And again, as me and King were talking the other day, that's the wrong attitude or wrong position to look at it. Is that's that person's, you know, that's happening to them. It's not happening to me. So I would encourage, you know, younger people, don't even take on that energy. You know, just base your views on your own interaction with them.
Another thing also that I have to even keep in mind with my child. You know, a lot of the music that the youth listen, every rapper is talking about fuck the police, ride with the police, they the ops, this and that. You know, but so when your kids listen to that type of music, you have to be also mindful to teach them the real meaning, what cops are supposed to be doing, what cops are here for, and it's to protect, to help when you need help. I mean, to give you a hand or whatever the case may be when you're in need. So, you know, I have to, when I talk to my children, I'm asking what kind of music they're listening to. And I have to also let them know that just because these rappers are saying this, that's not your mindset. That shouldn't be your mindset.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because one of my bigger things is, you know, you hear NWA back in the day, you hear all these rappers and, you know, saying fuck the police and blah 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 and this. You see this happen on the news, and you automatically go into the mindset is, oh, they're against black people, they doing this, they doing that. So, you know, you can't mentally own those situations, because if you've never experienced that, you don't have the right to have that type of attitude. You can empathize, you can understand, you can assess what's going on, you can seek knowledge, but don't put yourself into a situation that you've never experienced and that you're never likely to experience, because you're already putting yourself at a disadvantage. You're walking around there with this whole mentality. Well, if they do this, I'm gonna do that, and it's like, well, where are you getting that from? You've never experienced that. That's something that, you know, I've had to be mindful of, even though I've never really fully reacted like that towards a police officer. Um, I mean, I've had an experience where I got pulled over just, you know, driving from a neighborhood that, you know, had a lot of drugs or crime or whatever case may be, but I wasn't involved in any of that. So when I got pulled over, I instantly had an attitude, but I didn't project myself in a way where that officer was going to be like, yo, get out the car, slam me in a car, anything like that. You know, I just had an attitude like, yo, why are you pulling me over? Like, you know, I didn't verbalize that, but in my response to him, I was kind of agitated because of the fact that I was being pulled over, and it was like, I know I didn't do nothing. I know that my, you know, everything is straight on my car and everything like that. So again, you know, that mindset needs to be dialed down a whole lot to prevent anyone of minority background, more so than any other background, from being put into those situations like that.
Hey, and my biggest advice would be to anyone, you know, you get pulled over, any interaction you have with a cop, the road on a traffic stop is not the time to have a court. You know, they have a courtroom for court. Feel like you're doing wrong, like you said, King. Best thing you do, get your camera, audio recorder, and just record the situation. You know, but to argue or debate with a cop side of the road, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to win that fight. You're not going to win that argument. The best thing to do is get home safe. You know, you don't want to escalate things to where you putting your life in jeopardy, or the cop's life in jeopardy, and he's back up, making things worse. So, if it's a situation where you feel you're doing wrong, you know, just follow what the cop's saying. You know, don't make the situation worse by trying to prove your point side of the road.
Definitely. I would definitely encourage, you know, people not to do that. Again, like Mr. Williams saying, you have your day in court. So Any evidence you want to present then. That's the perfect time. If you feel like you need a lawyer, then take your lawyer or get you a lawyer to go with you. But especially if you on a back road somewhere or a position where there's not a whole lot of people around it, if he's not a good cop or police officer, he can pretty much make it look any way he wants to. So the thing is just about, using your best mind about it. Do what you have to do, get home safe, and again, present your case in court.
Yes, indeed. So, phone line is available. So if you want to call in, you can text your name to 347-778-1082, and we will get you on the line so you can ask your questions, make your comments, or whatever the case may be. So, moving on. Yeah. I'm gonna say, is implicit bias a major issue when it comes to law enforcement officers, and should racial sensitivity training be implemented? My first thought on that is what the hell is racial sensitivity? that is the first thing that comes to mind when I hear that, because my thing is this: racism is taught. It's a learned behavior. If you growing up, if you've been around all types of races, I don't understand why you would need training on to deal with people of other races. And if you know that you're going to be working in a job with other races, and 9 times out of 10, as a police officer, you're in training with other races, to me personally, I don't understand why one would need racial sensitivity training or implicit bias training. I mean, maybe y'all could give me a different point of view on that.
I mean, my thing about it is, I wish the world was a perfect place where people actually didn't judge you on your skin and judge you on your character. But again, that's a different dream for a different day. But I definitely agree that some type of training should be implemented, simply because I found that, with my life experience, that some people of different cultures, they just, because they believe everything they see on the news and the TV, it's like they automatically think that every person that comes across their tracks, that's of my skin color is a bad person. You know what I'm saying? And so they already got this pre-notion in their head of what, people of our culture are like. And it is simply not like that at all. You can't judge a whole race of people by one person or what you see on the TV, especially because there are some people who really don't, interact with people of color like that. So they just don't know. But as far as like law enforcement agencies, again, some of them, they don't know. They never had that interaction. They've grown up in maybe a small town where majority of the people look like them. So I think training is definitely something that should be implemented. Again, not only with our culture and our race, but other cultures and other races. Because if you've never come in contact with these people before, and you're basically going off of what you've seen on TV and news or whatever the case may be, then automatically in your mind, you're thinking that's what it's like in real life, and it's not.
Yeah, I think racial sensitivity training should be implemented. I think it's vital. And like you guys said, it's something that's learned as a child. You learn racism. You learn how to be a racist. And a child don't really pick that up. If someone has to teach them, they have to see from an older adult or a teenager, older brother, older sister. And with my experiences, it's very important in law enforcement because, especially in the smaller cities and towns, you may have a sheriff or a chief that's been in law enforcement 30 30, 40 years. And he may not like a certain race of people, but his children growing up under him wanting to be a police officer, dad is a police officer. But at the same time, dad don't like a certain race of people. So therefore, this child is going to grow up wanting to be a police officer, and still he's learned over time not to like a certain race of people. So therefore, the cycle continues. You have another cop that don't like a certain race of people for the reasons they were taught when they were young. So I think that training is very important.
Definitely. Should law enforcement agencies implement better community relations programs?
I think it's very important on the same, level as the sensitivity training. The community is where law enforcement starts. From my experience in law enforcement, when I was out on my beat or patrolling my area that I controlled, I would make it my business to go to certain areas, certain neighborhoods, and just get out the car, walk around. Hey, I'm Officer Williams. You guys need anything? Here's my cell phone. Here's my office phone. Email. If you see anything that looks suspicious in the neighborhood, just give me a call. And to me, that made it a better open line of communication with the community. They felt like it wasn't police against, the community. So it's kind of like they felt comfortable with talking to me about different things. And believe it or not, a lot of the crimes was because of that open line of communication I had with the community. And I can remember certain times I would just go to neighborhoods and just get out the car and just be out in the yard playing ball. I'd go out and throw the football with them or whatever, the little downtime we had. And that kind of build that rapport with the children. So as they got older, teenagers, that's Officer Williams. He's cool. He's good. He's a good cop. He ain't gonna try to treat us bad or anything like that. And they don't wait with those kids. So even now, I still have that kind of relationship with certain people. That they may call me, hey, did you hear about this going on or that? So I think it's very important to have that relationship with the community.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Because that also, in my opinion, will take down the stigma of that whole, I guess, no snitching mentality. People take on that mindset, but they got to understand when something is happening, a crime needs to be solved. You might be the victim of that crime. And if law enforcement is making an attempt to build better community relations and the community is working with them side by side, that makes everybody's life easier. And it prevents people from going down this line of, we got to take this cowboy justice, within our community, because that does not help. All you're doing is creating more crimes that need to be solved. And when you look at, well, okay, this crime is unsolved, and then you have all these people with this, well, they don't do their job, they ain't gonna never do this, they're never gonna do that. And it's like, hold up. When you build those relationships, the community relationship between the law enforcement community, it's sometimes easier to solve these crimes. Sometimes people are able to be made whole from being violated, or whatever the case may be, because you have this big community relations thing going on, and there's no stigma, there's no judgment, there's no apprehension or anything like that. And going back to the implicit bias thing, you might have a police officer from a different background, and building those community relations, maybe this officer has preconceived notions about Hispanics or Blacks or whatever the case may be. But if you have better community relations, that officer, even though he may come from a background where it's like, I don't deal with these people, he may be more open to working with that community, and that community may be more open to working with him because they've built that bond together.
Yeah, I definitely think that, working with law enforcement agencies along the lines of building that trust with the community is very important. Growing up, King and I definitely ran across military police, but I can't say I ever remember one of them, getting out of line with us or even stopping to say, hey, where y'all going? It was more or less like, if they saw us or saw me, you know, they just asking, hey, how's your day going? Just a little small talk, you know, and again, building up that trust and rapport with the community that they go through. But again, the more the civilians are familiar with these police officers or law enforcement officers, I think that does build up that trust between the community and these people because they see them every day. So again, they're more likely to trust someone that they see every day or every other day than as opposed to someone, you know, just coming through the neighborhood for the first time.
Yeah, definitely.